Did you know that Jesus helped his friend come out? In John chapter 11, verse 43, this is what it says. Jesus called out in a loud voice saying, "Lazarus, come out."
Say what now? Jesus wasn't telling Lazarus to come out of the tomb because he was in the closet. Lazarus was dead. Jesus was resurrecting him back to life. He wasn't helping him come out of anything but death.
You see, Lazarus was locked up in a cold, dark tomb, wrapped in burial cloths, left for dead. That's exactly what so many Christians and so many churches do to LGBT people.
Now, it is true that a lot of Christians will mistreat people who are in that lifestyle, and it's the unfortunate reality. Christians need to treat everybody, no matter what sin they're caught up in, with kindness and respect. Now, the difference is we should not condone somebody else's sin, but we still need to love the sinner.
They wrap us up and bind us up and tell us that we need to keep our identity, our true self, locked away. But Jesus, upon seeing Lazarus in this state, he says, "Lazarus, come out. Step into the light. Take off the cloth. Be who you are. Come alive."
And this, my friends, is the perfect example of what we call eisegesis. This is not exegesis. This is eisegesis, and that's a fancy word for basically meaning I don't like what the scripture says. I'm going to interpret whatever meaning I want to in there, superimpose whatever meaning I want in order to deny what the scripture actually says so I don't have to change. Jesus didn't tell Lazarus, "Come out, Lazarus, be who you are. It's okay, you can stay in your sin." No. Lazarus, come forth. And what did he do when Lazarus came forth out of the tomb? He told them, take off the grave clothes. You know what clothing is a symbol of in the Bible? Character. The sins that you find yourself in, or the righteousness of Christ. And you know what we find in the vision of the high priest, and Joshua, Joshua the high priest, he was covered in filthy clothes. And what did the angel in that vision say? Take off the filthy clothes. Take off those clothes that represent sin. Put on the righteousness of Christ.
I believe that this is what Jesus is speaking to every LGBT person. Come out of the tomb of shame. Take off the chains that have bound you up. Step into the glory of who God made you to be, fearfully and wonderfully made, just as you are. You are beloved of God.
Jesus is not telling people involved in that movement, take off the chains and be who you are. Be who I've created you to be. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, like he said to the woman caught in adultery in John chapter 8, go and sin no more. He's saying, like he said in Matthew 16, at the end of Matthew 16, take up your cross, deny yourself, and follow me, Jesus says. And what does it mean to deny yourself? Well, in Romans chapter 8, Paul explains. He says the carnal nature is at enmity against God and cannot be reconciled to God. Which is why he says in 2 Corinthians 5:17 that he who has accepted Christ has become a new creation. The old has gone. Whatever sins you struggled with, be it the one that's being addressed in that video or any other, the old has gone once you accepted Jesus. You cannot continue to indulge your sin and still be Christian, even if it's the major sin that is protected by law now. You know, whenever Jesus healed someone that had a disease or a malady that was a direct result of their sin, be it physical, spiritual, what have you, you know what he told them? He always told them something like, go and sin no more, such as in the case, as we said, in John chapter 8, the woman caught in adultery. This was the same woman, I believe, who Jesus healed her of demon possession 7 times. He saved her from a life of selling her body to cheap, ungodly men in order to seek validation from them. And he said, go and sin no more. Same with John chapter 5. The man who was a paralytic for 38 years, Jesus told him specifically, go and sin no more unless a worse thing comes upon you. Jesus said, deny yourself, not indulge your sin. Now in the grace and strength of God, do what he said and go and sin no more.